250 Ks of the Clipsal 500. 78 laps it is. Race duration 130 minutes plus 1 lap. We won't be bothered by any weather coming our way, but it will be hot. Make no mistake about that. Inside the cockpit, some 50-odd degrees. It will wear them out. It will grind them down. And this circuit is responsible for that. It's brutal.
It's worth having a look at it now in some detail, Matty. It's got an average speed of just over 140-odd kilometres an hour. Top speed on the run down to that turn 8 that we speak a lot about, and that's 245 kilometres an hour. Turn 9, the hairpin, the slowest corner on the track, just 60 kilometres an hour. And those numbers that Mark Larkin was referring to earlier are the numbers that we're going to pay particular attention to. Those fuel burn, in simple terms, it's probably, you're right, this gave you just recycling some paperwork next to me. Around about 3 litres a lap or better is the magic number that they're looking to work on. Here's the Fuso starting grid.
And you'll find Garth Tander on pole position. Third time he's had pole here alongside another 3-time pole sitter, Jamie Whincup. But Whincup had to settle for second today after the top 10 shootout. There's Lee Holdsworth and Rick Kelly in the Jack Daniels Racing. A very good start to the year. He's won here before. He knows how to do it. There's our new dad, Frosty, alongside the young Kiwi, Shane Van Gisbergen. Position 7, Will Davison against James Courtney. So the defending series champ will start from 8th. He's 12th in the championship. Jason Bright for Team BOC and Paul Dumbrell all featured in the top 10 shootout. Now we go to Craig Lowndes. He's won here before. In fact, he's the inaugural Clipsal winner back in 1999. Stevie Johnson, 17 out of 22 times he's finished in the top 10 in terms of races. Steve Owen and Jonathan Webb, full-time main gamers. Tim Slade and Todd Kelly, who's celebrating his 150th championship event. Jason Barguana for Team BOC alongside Caruso. And if you weren't with us earlier, a great day for Team BOC because Jason Richards ran in the Fujitsu races earlier and won the race. It was one great moment. David Reynolds for Stratco Racing. Stratco's a local sponsor, so he'll be looking to make some headlines today. He's got Russell Ingall alongside him. There's Alex Davison, second in the championship. Came here with a really bad case of the flu, and he's going to do it tough this afternoon. James Moffat, out of all of these guys in the field, is the only guy who's making his main game Clipsal V8 Supercar debut. And Dean Fiore and Carl Reindler round up the 28 spots. And Carl, I reckon, put this beautifully into perspective. This place, he said, attacking the Clipsal is like doing weights in a sauna on the treadmill, having a boxer throw punches at you. Sums it up nicely. And I can also tell you that Carl and Warren Luff will start out a pit lane to try and save fuel and not get caught up down at turn 1, because it's pretty much guaranteed that there'll be some shenanigans down there.
And the second part of that could end up being the most important part. The not getting caught up in it could prove to be really valuable later on. The fuel question is certainly one that we will harp on because it's going to be an interesting one. By rights, it really ought to be a 3-stop race. So everybody's going to do everything in their power to try and get away from that. On board here in the super cheap auto car with Russell Ingall. Here we are with James Moffat, Jim Beam Racing, downstairs in the garage with him just a little earlier, and his famous dad Alan is here watching. Jason Bright looking to try and make it 4 podium in a row. Will Davison in a wild ride for him so far today, carrying the Trading Post Racing camera on board. James Courtney slowly but surely starting to get a handle on how to make the Toll Holden Racing Team car work a little better. This is turn 11, so they're just in behind the pit complex now. Steve Owen has actually found the wall a couple of times this weekend. Just a little brush the back of the car at turn 4, and I don't think he quite got to the wall, in fact, at turn 11, but he was in the gravel down there at one point. That track temp and air temp continues to rise down there. Some data just through a few moments ago from Dunlop. They're big numbers. It's going to be a hot afternoon for the boys.
And Big Pond Sport will have you covered if you need to leave our race coverage today. Just take your Big Pond Telstra NextG mobile with you and away you go. You won't miss a thing of our coverage. So they're slotting into their grid boxes.
We just saw there Mark Winterbottom. Mark Beretta was talking to him on board there with Lee Holdsworth. But Mark already knows how tough this is going to be. And when you're in the first few laps of this race, you use a huge amount of energy. There's a lot of anxiety, a lot of effort to get through the first few laps. And if you're caught, you know, 6th, 7th, 8th or 9th in the field, it's very, very tough going. Here we go.
The two guys at the front of the grid have dominated this race over the last 4 years. Tandem versus Whincup. Behind them it's Holdsworth and Rick Kelly. It's a really even start and a great start from Garth Tandem. The pole sitter takes the advantage early. Stephen Johnson is going to go 3 wide into turn 1. Whoa! Johnson alongside Dumbrell. They got through there though.
Great start, Rick Kelly. Really good start.
Nice opportunistic move there from Paul Dumbrell up the inside at 4, but a great jump from Garth Tander. Very nice work. Jamie just couldn't get it away. His initial flinch looked okay, but then he wasn't able to go on with it, so he's dropped some spots now and he's under pressure from Winterbottom.
So round turn 7. Along the back straight they go. Down to turn 8, 245 kilometres. Watch this. That's a whisker away from disaster. Turn 9.
Now, just as we suspected, we've got to keep one eye on all of this down here at turn 9. Because of the sensitivity of the very highly accurate electronic sensor that's in the road down at turn 2. Anybody that climbs the curb there too far to the right-hand side of the road runs the risk of a breach. Now, already 6 drivers in the field as a result of all that motocross action down there have got a yellow mark against their name. Dumbrell, Bright, Steve Owen, Slade, Bargwana, D'Alberto. And the first breach is considered a warning. The second breach is another warning. By the time you do it 3 times, out comes the bad sportsmanship flag. If you do it a 4th time, you'll make a nice quiet tour down the pit lane.
And then if you do it again after that, there's no more warnings, you're back in pit lane. And let's ride on board here with Mark Winterbottom. He's got a view of Jamie Whincup, who's in 4th. Remember, Whincup started 2nd. Takes it through turn 8. Down here is where you'll see a lot of passing, a lot of movement. And already a move. That was Will Davison. Got on the inside of Shane Van Gisbergen, and James Courtney wants to have a look at the gears as well. So good move from Will. He moves up to 6th.
So Whincup off the front row of the grid back to 4th. Tander up to 2nd. Winterbottom and Van Gisbergen, we just saw them battling before, but Davison has now jumped up behind his teammate. James Courtney 8th, Dumbrell 9th, Steve Johnson 10th. So it's a very mixed up and very fast start to this race. They're really trying hard. Have a look at the jump, the little jump, and a really good start there from Tander.
The initial flinch of Whincup was very good. He went with it. He was right on cue, but then he just couldn't go on with it, so dropped those couple of spots.
And it was also highlighted by a great start from Rick Kelly.
Yes.
So it made Jamie's look worse.
Absolutely.
I mean, this isn't a bad start from Jamie Whincup, but those around him had excellent starts.
And Garth Tander, hardly any wheel spin, and there's Rick Kelly straight by. That's a great start.
It's a little bit hard to hear them, but I'm not sure whether it was either a little bit of clutch slip or it might have just been wheel spin, but it certainly didn't go anywhere near where he wanted it to.
This is where Will got on the inside of Shane Van Gisbergen at turn 9. And look at Courtney pull up alongside Van Gisbergen as well. Oh, someone touch it back there.
It was a good move to pull that early in the race because you don't get many opportunities here. You can spend an hour behind somebody if you don't get it done early.
Whincup up to 3rd. So he's rounded up Lee Holdsworth just then.
And Rick Kelly's speed looks good, guys. He has not let Tander get away. You have a look as they come onto the straight here. He's right behind Garth Tander.
Well, he was quicker on the last lap than Garth, and he was quicker to the 2nd sector. He's only a couple of car lengths behind. So
fuel is good as well.
And in fact, the 10th quicker on that lap. So straight away, even at this point in the race, people are talking about driving to a fuel number on the steering wheel.
Car 1, James Courtney has hit the wall at turn 8 and has to come in. Just come over the radio.
Alex Davison, Tony D'Alberto in.
He's hit the wall too. That's a fence. That's Alex Davison. Left-hand rear damage. Mark Larkham's on the scene there. He'll see the damage on the left-hand rear of that car.
Mark Winterbottom's been highlighted for going through the curbing at turn 2, so this will explain the out of 8. Oh.
That's a biggie. That's Dumbrell. That's hit hard. So that's serious damage to that car, and I think Johnson also got it. So we'll just wait for the Courtney incident because they've reported that he will have to come in. But at the moment, still going around. It's got a damage, it's got a mark on the back corner of it, but he may try to stay out. It's obviously hasn't hurt the Watts linkage.
Now, as things have normalised quickly, Whincup is showing great speed. Faster to the second sector on this lap, and the fastest lap of the race at 23.5. And this fresh air that Tan is enjoying at the moment as they look at Alex Davison's car will be a great spot for him to be, but I don't think he would have been expecting this pressure from Rick early in the race.
Well, Alistair McVeigh said to Garth Tander, try to build a gap. So,
and that was in the first lap.
Absolutely. And when you can't build a gap, and you look in the mirror and the guy's got the car full, he's in the mirror and he's into it. He is really trying hard.
And the hard part about all this is that you're trying to race, you're trying to make lap time, but at the same time, there's a number on the steering wheel or on the dashboard that you're driving to in terms of fuel economy. I was surprised to hear so many people talking about fuel numbers only a couple of laps into the race. On board here with Jamie Whincup looking at the front left Dunlop control tyre, the harder of the two tyres that we have. Whincup continues to make great pace. Fastest through the first split. With a crushing load on that front left tyre. That was through turn 8. Now compression under brakes into turn 9. Big tearing load through the hairpin. And then the front left goes on holidays through turn 10. Waves to the crowd. This is 11 past the pits, a bit of curb along the way, grabs a bit of paint. Car's sliding there, a little bit more curb again, and watch the load come on through 13. And this is the final corner now. Now wait for this ride. Down pit straight. And have a look at the pounding that the front of the car cops when he negotiates 1, 2 and 3.
Not want to be a left-hand front tyre, would you?
And he's just done the quickest car 1 false start. And that'll be an extra 10 seconds added to his stop when James makes his stop. So a penalty for James Courtney in the Toll Holden Racing Team car, as this man is the fastest on the road at the moment.